to my podcast, Divine Chatter with Jazz. I'm your host, Jasmine, and today I'm so blessed. I'm so happy. I'm so freaking excited to finally talk with you guys and just share space with you all to let today as a collective, as a community, as a unit. And yes, thank you guys for tuning in today. So, for today's episode, I would like to talk about self care and what that means, what that looks like, and how this is a continuous journey that we're doing with ourselves, and it never stops. No matter what you do, no matter how much you might want it to stop, it never stops. It never stops. And like, there's nothing wrong with that, there's nothing bad about that. But yeah, and so over the past week, I have really been focusing on myself and really focusing on what it looks like to be a friend, what it looks like to show up for myself, what it looks like to be transparent, to be real, to constantly, what does it look like to commit myself to me? I feel like a lot of people don't talk enough about the commitment that they make with themselves. And, I actually read this morning in my poetry book, like, she was talking about how, like, people always want to love someone else before they can love themselves, and I remember having this conversation with my cousin, and she was talking about how you made this commitment with this other person, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, you made this commitment with them, so when it's like, times get hard, times get tough, sometimes, we get in predicaments when it's like, you did make a commitment to this friendship, you did make a commitment to this relationship, so it's not like you could just up and leave, which is very valid. But then it's just like, if this relationship is taking from me, if this relationship is not being fruitful for me, or we are no longer in alignment, then it's just like, I don't need to check the connect the I don't need to check the commitment that I made with you. I need to check the commitment that I made with myself, because if we're no longer in alignment, it can't be something that we need to work on anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it might have to be something that needs to be moving forward. But I'm not going to get too much into that. We are here to talk about self-love, and I do want to share some things that I had read. I have these two books here by Raina Biddy called I Love My Love, and her other book called A Psalm for Us. And these are the two books that I started. Well, I guess you could say these are the two books that kind of initiated my self-love journey. And yeah, like, these are what really ignited that flame of loving myself. And I am very, very grateful for them, because as I look through them and as I read through them now, it's just like, wow, like what she was talking about, the things that I was reading. And I was 16 when I read these books for the first time. So as a 16-year-old girl, and I had maybe one boyfriend. I had one boyfriend, and I've literally never had a boyfriend ever since then. But he, like, and it just, I don't know, it was just a different time in my life. We had just moved to San Antonio. I didn't have any friends. I had my one friend that I spoke to before I moved, and then it was just me and my family. And it was like, I had to fend for myself. I had to just go from there. And I don't know, but what I'm realizing is, like, my ancestors are speaking to me more than I think that they are. And a lot of my thoughts are also messages from them. And I feel like at that time of my life, there was a message sent to me to work on my self-love and to care for myself, and to really start there. Start with giving a crap about me, and not worrying about other people, and being satisfied with myself. So, and once again, this is a continuous journey. Like, I'm 21 now, and I can honestly say, like, this is something that definitely, like, it's ongoing and it's forever. And I really just want to talk about it, because I've been focusing on myself, and I've been taking time to heal. I've been taking time to really figure out myself and dig deeper. And I just feel like everyone should be doing the same thing. And I feel like, I've learned that there's a message that I have to share with other people, and there is me that I meant to share. Like, I meant to share myself. I meant to share this space. I meant to share this share this everything with you guys. And well, not everything, but y'all know what I mean. So and I love my love. She wrote this note to her mom, and I really want to read it. So, well, I'm gonna read a line and I'm gonna read the other like paragraph. So she said, here's a line. It says, learn to tell the difference between lust and romance. And I feel like sometimes, a lot of us get confused, or a lot of us get, we our opinion is altered because of what we are seeing, or what we are, pouring into ourselves, and like who we're around. And like sometimes it can be confusing because there are double meanings to a lot of stuff, and the English language shows us that all the time, with all these words that are spelled 2-3 different ways, have 3 different meanings, but all sound the exact same way. Like, there's different ways to say things. There's different things that can come out of what you say and things that you do. So, just be mindful of these things as we continue to build relationships and connections with people. So she said, so she wrote, leaving you more vulnerable, more dim, but I promise the world sees you and admires how fragile your heart has always been. If I could be around your whole life during your loneliest nights, I would pick up your chin. I would let you know how amazing you are from within. God has a funny way of putting the fiercest fire in our souls just to see the breakdown during our emptiest alone. Just to see the breakthrough once we love ourselves back to whole. Every night I pray for your well-being before I pray for my own. I imagine you could use it. I imagine some days you lose it. Life has a way of showing us ourselves through many bruises. But here's a reminder. You look beautiful tonight. Every night you found a way to shine brighter than the last. Your spirit speaks wonders and your energy uplifts the mass. Wow, I'm sorry I forgot to teach you about the light within that comes from loving you before loving someone else. And then I put my own little annotation, and I said, how can you be loved by someone else if you don't truly love yourself first? Facts. Straight freaking facts, right? So with that being said, I also, aside from just loving yourself and things that you can do, like, I thought about friendship, and I thought about what does it look like to be your own friend? But then it's like, what qualities do you really look for in your friends? And it's crazy because like I haven't ever really spent so much time thinking about the friends that I wanted, or the friends that I have, and like how they show up for me as a friend, because I personally have never sat down and thought like ways that I could be a friend to myself. Listen, y'all, let me tell y'all right now, like I'm a Google type of person. Okay, I'm gonna Google it. So I Googled like ways to be a friend to yourself, and a lot of good stuff came up, and like, but it also kind of started that wheel of thinking, that whole understanding of literally like what it means to be a friend to yourself. Like, have you ever thought like what does that mean? And then another thing that I've just realized this summer overall is that I am not receiving a lot of things because I'm not implementing a lot of things for myself. Like, how can I, like I said in the book, like how I wrote my annotation, how can I expect someone else to love me if I don't love myself? So how can I expect somebody to be consistent with me? How can I expect someone to show up for me? How can I expect someone to get me gifts? How can I expect someone to, do all these things that I want someone else to do for me if I'm not doing them for myself? You have to expose yourself to it first, so that way you can be able to receive these things from other people. And I feel like for me, especially right now, something that's been going on is like, I feel like I've really stepped into receiving and being able to receive things, and not being, I don't know, feeling weird about it. I don't know if that makes sense, but like that. So when it comes down to being a friend to yourself and what that looks like, and going about that, it's just like, what are friends? What does a friendship look like? What does friend mean to you? And I'm gonna just share with y'all what I wrote in my journal about what a friend. Yeah, so here's some affirmations that I wrote. I am my own best friend. I have nothing to prove to others. I accept myself exactly how I am. I am protected, safe, grounded. I love the person I am. I'm supported. I am loved. So I put, for my sister friend supports me fully, encourages me, doesn't question me or doubt me. They are loyal and someone I can depend on. We spend time together consistently. It's a space with no judgment. They understand me and support me in everything I do. My sister friend loves me like family. We get each other, and I thought about you kiss. We watch movies in the car late at night. We always laugh together, get cute, and go out together. Whenever we are together, it's a good time. I trust my sister friend. My sister friend and I are creating our own spaces that resemble our talents and gifts that reach people. That's what I said for what my sister friend would look like. So that could be different for everyone. On what it looks like to be your own friend, or what it looks like for someone to be your friend. Like, I want a friend that shows up. I want a friend that's loyal. I want a friend that pushes me. I want a friend that's on their own stuff. I want a friend that's spiritual. I want a friend that prays. I want a friend that meditates. Like, stuff like that. Like, what are things that you do that you might want your other friend to like? And once again, like, y'all, don't get confused with your friend has to be just like you, because at the end of the day, we need to understand that people are their own people. Like, other people are their own person. So at the end of the day, they're not obligated to meet your expectation. And also, once again, just because these are certain things that you want from a friend doesn't mean that all your friends are going to have this. You might have different friends for different stuff. You might have a friend that you can always call. You might have a friend that you can't always call. You might have a friend that you can tell all your secrets. You might have a friend you can't tell all your secrets. And honestly, that comes with time, identifying who and who not to trust, who to trust and who not to trust. And even now, at 21 years old, I'm just now, figuring out, like, being able to identify people and for who they are, and seeing them for who they are, and allowing them to be them, and like allowing people to live their own lives. Because I would say I figured, but for a long time, I think that I spent a lot of my time consumed in the lives of the people around me. Like, even though I had my own life, like, I felt like whenever my friends had something crumbling, I was crumbling with them. And like, this summer, I really learned to take up my own space, and I learned to really take time to myself, and to really nurture myself, and to really understand that I don't need to be. So I just really feel as though, really take time to tend to yourself and understand what it means to just be in your own element and be in your own energy, and you know be to yourself. Like, it's really just so important to be self-aware, to be self-conscious. Well, self-conscious, I don't think that's the right word to use, but it's just important to be aware of self. Let's keep it at that. Being aware of self. And if you listen to my last episode, literally was called Inherent of Self, the power of, inherent self. And that means the existing in the power of self, to be in the inherent of the power of the self. So yeah, like, you aren't required to impress anyone with your life choices. You're not required to build these relationships with people based off of like your parents, or based off of history or anything. Like, that's something that I realized young growing up too is just like, it doesn't matter the amount of history we have. Like, that doesn't matter. And just because you feel as though it matters, that's cool. But it really genuinely doesn't matter. Like, if you're not serving me anymore, then it doesn't matter. And then it's just like, it doesn't make sense. It genuinely doesn't make sense to have friends that are people that you've had for 20 plus years and they haven't grown at all. They're literally the same person you met 20 years ago. Like, what was the point? What is the point of keeping these people around? And something else that I realized is like, when you keep these people around you and when you're constantly trying to feed these dead situations, they cause chaos in your life. Like, things happen, or you don't receive certain things because these people are still in your lives. Like, I feel like when I had stopped being friends with some of the people that, like, for example, like literally this summer, I stopped being friends with, I want to say I stopped being friends with people, but I really took pride in my solitude, and I really took time to be to myself. And for that, I was rewarded. For that, I've been receiving. For that, I've been getting messages. I've been hearing what I need to hear. Like, crazy. Like, literally crazy. Another thing that I did want to touch on as well was the whole trauma dumping thing, because I was watching this podcast and they were talking about self-care and self-love and stuff too as well. And, being your own friend came up, and they started talking about, like, they don't agree with it. And I'm not here to say I agree or disagree, but I do feel as though for those that are like the strong friend, like me, like I'm the strong friend. And what I will, and it's crazy because I can only speak from my experience. But for me, I hold on. Let's cut this out. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna start from here. For me, okay, so I can only speak from my experience. I can only speak from my experience. Um, I can only speak from my experience. So for me, it was really just like, so for me, I really just had to realize that, like, at the end of the day, I am the strong friend. Okay, like, people can come to me, and I love, like, being there for my friends. I love supporting. I want to be the shoulder, and like, but I was living in that space in a toxic way. I was living in that space where I literally just, like, I was consuming. I was, like I said, like, I was fully being consumed by the people around me. And I had to realize, like, I need to separate myself from people on that type of time. Like, I can't, as much as I want to be there for my friends, like, I can't. Okay. And I just couldn't figure out a way or what I was supposed to be doing to, do better in that area. And then it was just like, I want to show up for people, but like, I'm still struggling with that. And then I realized, like, I have my own friends that are trying to be there for me, but they're struggling with that as well, or stuff like that. And so I realized this summer that I need to fill my cup. And mind you, this is a message that I've been receiving for so long. Like, in the Bible, they talk about filling your cup. They constantly talk about that. And it's just like, facts. You have to fill your cup in order to be able to reach other people, in order for you to be able to share yourself. Like, how are you pouring into other people, but you can't, but your cup is like, like, literally think of a cup and think of when you pour water and it's overflowing. Now I can pour into other cups. But if my cup is just full and it's not constantly overflowing, then therefore I'm not able to pour into other people. So I've really been focusing as well on pouring into myself before I pour into other people. And so my advice is to the strong friends, like, 100%, like, y'all, we have to, we literally have to, like, pour into ourselves. Like, if you genuinely have a desire to be there for people, and you genuinely have a desire to be a friend, to be whatever, like, someone positive in other people's lives, then, you have to fill your own cup. And I know it feels selfish, and I know it feels hard, but at the end of the day, you have to do it. You have to do it. Like, there's no other way. Like, I just strongly feel like someone needs to hear that. Like, you can't, it's not selfish, it's not wrong. And anyone who is punishing you, including yourself, they need to be checked. And if it's someone else who is punishing you for choosing you, then they need to be cut off ASAP, because they don't care about you. They obviously don't care about you. They don't respect you, none of that. So, yeah. And also with, like, being a strong friend, sometimes you need to vent yourself. And one time I seen this girl's YouTube video, and the YouTube video was called Who Heals the Healer? Because I'm tired. And facts, who is healing the healer? Because I'm tired. And I feel like, you just have to find your people. And for me, I feel like it's been helpful for me to really just try with the people around me, to try with the people that I do have around me, because I mean, they're here for a reason. They love me, they cherish me, they respect me. And I can share my thoughts with them openly and freely, without judgment, without doubt, without questioning. And those are the people that I go to. And something that's also helped me be more secure in that space is really identifying who those people are, one, but also asking if I could share space, if you could share space with me, asking if this is okay for me to share with you right now. Are you okay? Can, like, just checking in to make sure that this is okay before you dump on someone. Be considerate of that. If you are someone who constantly feels like you need to vent, or take up journaling, or do what I'm doing, get you some voice memos, start recording yourself and just venting like that. That definitely helps as well. But for the people that genuinely just want someone else to listen, because sometimes for me, like, I feel like I want people to listen to me, and like, I want to just be heard rather than really have a response all the time. You can also just get a therapist as well. I've done therapy when I was younger. I definitely still want to do therapy. I definitely want to get back into therapy, and I want to find me a therapist. But as of right now, like, I feel like it's going to just take a little bit more time. And yeah, because I kind of want a specific type of therapist. So that's why I'm like, I'm kind of waiting a little bit to really do my research and to really find one that I like. But yeah, so be mindful of when you are dumping on your friends, and be mindful of you being the strong friend and someone's always taking from you. Let's be mindful of that, and let's take notes and really do something about that, because that's not cool. Like, and with all of that, like, being your own friend and this self-love and like being mindful of stuff, like, it all ties into setting boundaries with yourself. Like, we have to set boundaries with ourselves. And for me, I was confused, I'm not gonna lie, because I am a recovering people pleaser. And something that I realized is that you have to set boundaries with people, but you also have to set boundaries with yourself. And that could look like anything. And I Googled it. Okay, your girl Googled it. I Googled it, and I Googled, how do you set boundaries with yourself? And a lot of stuff came up, and it was just like, commit, and like, be consistent, and like, I'm trying to think of what else it said. Well, be consistent was like really crazy for me, because I was just like, damn, like, I'm not committed to myself. I'm not being consistent. So therefore, I'm breaking boundaries. Like, getting up and doing stuff, like, actually sticking to your word is setting a boundary. Like, actually saying stuff and doing it is setting a boundary. Like, I say Google the boundaries. I can't really think of them right now. My apologies, collective, but I can't. But consistency was one thing that really stuck out to me, because I realized that I do need to be consistent in my own life. And I realized that when I'm not consistent, I am disappointed in myself. And it does affect me when I'm not consistent, and it does affect me when I'm saying I'm going to do something and I don't do it. So that's important to keep in mind as well. Um, I feel as though that there are four parts or four things to consider when it comes to the whole self-care, self-love thing. Like I feel like there are genuinely there are genuinely four different areas in our lives that involve self-care, and that's your emotional state, your physical state, your spiritual state, and your mental state. Like, how are you emotionally? How are you doing physically? How are you doing spiritually? How are you doing mentally? Check in with yourself. That's what I had to start doing, was just checking in with myself, asking myself questions, and just trying to be there for me and hear me, and just stay connected. Like, I did yoga, which helped me, I feel like also helped me be connected to my body and really understand, like, feelings and being aware, like, paying attention. Like, it's really important to pay attention when it comes to loving yourself, when it comes to caring for yourself. Come on, like, y'all brush your teeth. Like, I literally remember, like, you don't brush your teeth for a while, they get yellow. You don't brush your teeth for a while, they start to fall out, they start to get rotten. All these things happen, and it's because you're not taking care of yourself. We can be rotten at the core because we're not taking care of ourselves. If you're not taking care of yourself, you may end up rotten. Come on, guys, like, let's like, come on, collective, like, for real. It just really feels like we need to get it together. And I'm only saying this because I know for the past 3-4 days, I've needed to get it together. I haven't been able to sit down and really record anything for this podcast because, I've been moving, I've been trying to get class together, but even in between those times, there were times where I was just sitting for hours. There were times that I was just not doing anything, where I could have been doing this. So, time to get it together, for real. I already told myself, we need to cut the slack. And just because you miss one day doesn't mean now you get to miss all the days. You still got to show up. And that's, boom, that's another quote unquote boundary. Is that really? Yeah, let's just say it's a boundary. It's showing up. We got to show up. We got to get dressed. We got to go to work. We got to do this every single day, in and out, in and out, in and out. And it's not as deep as people make it seem with the whole hustle culture and stuff. Like, it's really not that deep. It's not that serious. Like, this is a lifestyle. This is something that we are implementing in our lives to keep doing naturally. It's a natural thing. I don't need to force myself to hustle because it's in me. I don't need to force myself to make YouTube videos. I don't need to force myself to do podcasts. I don't need to force myself to do anything because this is a lifestyle. This is a part of who I am. This is me. Period, point blank. Simple as that. So, yeah. So, I really just been thinking about self and thinking about how do I care for myself and how do I love myself and how do I show up for myself. And it's been beautiful. I can't lie. It's been a very beautiful journey. It's been a very beautiful task. And, I've been waking up in the morning and I'll ask God, like, show me how good it gets. Or, ask him, like, show me who I am. Like, tell me who I am. Like, stuff like that. So, I feel like everyone, we could take this time to really just sit and spend time with ourselves and sit in silence and just create space. Let's remember to continue to create space and just create what you need to create for you. Whatever works for you is what's for you. I want to what do I do next? So a question that I had brought up that came up was just like, what do I do from here? Like, now we just sat here and we had this conversation. We had this real talk. Like, we're talking right now. We're on the phone. We're on FaceTime. We're talking right now. And it's just like, okay, you said all that. What do I do next? I say, let's really figure out ways to love ourselves. Like, what now? Let's really make a list. Like, if you have to pause this right now and just think of a list of things that you can do and ways that you could show up or ways that you can love yourself, I say do that. Do that right now. Pause this, get yourself together, whatever, paper, pen, and let's do that. So it's just like, I want to ask y'all as well, like, now that you know more about self-care, how do you switch up the language? How do you implement that in your life? What are you going to be doing now moving forward to love yourself, to love on yourself, to care for yourself? Like and also like give this your own meaning. It doesn't have to be self-care. It doesn't have to be self-growth. It could just be me. It could be all about me, myself, and I. Y'all stay tuned for my challenge. My challenge for September will be focusing on self, and feel free to join. It's going to be the me, myself, and I. And yeah, it's just all about everything like that has to do with you, and like creating a purpose and creating space and creating love and life and all this stuff. So what are you doing to switch up the language? What are you doing to implement this in your life? What are you doing to make that change, to make that switch? That's important to think about. That's important to do. Let's do it. So what are some expectations that you have for yourself? What would you do differently in your daily life if you knew you'd change instantly? Here's some questions that I have just written down. Something that has been impacting me that came to mind was writing love letters. And I feel like that sounds kind of corny, but it's so beautiful and it's so cute because, I've been reading old journals and I'm like, yo, like I'm writing letters to future me. I'm writing the letters to myself to encourage me. I'm writing little notes in a corner for myself. And it's just like, those are important. And especially me looking back on them, it just shows resilience. It just shows how much courage, how much confidence, how much love I have within myself that I don't even realize. Like, it showed me how much I love myself, even when I'm not trying to love myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was something that came naturally. That was something that came without me having to think about it. So I feel like, self-care, loving, showing us ourselves love should be something that comes naturally. It should be something that comes without having to think about it, without having to be like, bruh, like, I gotta get up and wash my face today. I gotta get up and brush my teeth today. Like, really, guys? Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Let's show some love. Let's show some love. And then it's just like, if you're having a hard time loving yourself, but you can love other people, take what you give to others and give it to yourself. Or if you are so easy to love yourself, but you can't love other people, then there's something that you need to fix in yourself. And you need to take time to really sit back and think and reevaluate, because I had to do that. I realized that, sometimes I can be really aggressive and I could be really mean and it could come off really bad, and like you could have a bad interaction with me. But I had to really sit back and understand, like, that's not me. And like, I need to stop doing that. I need to stop operating and treating people that way, because that's not me. That's not authentic to who I am. And that doesn't speak volumes for me. So I had to switch up the language on that and just really realize who I can treat certain ways or who I could talk to certain ways, especially when you're meeting someone new. Like, you can't treat them like you know them, because you don't. So yeah, I don't know who told y'all that lie. But yes, so definitely add love letters to your list. I have a couple that I've written to myself, and I'll go back and I'll read them. Or, it's sometimes just if you feel like you need some encouragement, or you feel like you need some loving, like literally just write yourself a letter. Be that person for yourself. Show up for yourself. Be that boyfriend. Be that girlfriend that you feel like you deserve, that you desire. Be that for you. I also suggest dates, because I've taken myself on dates and dinner and stuff like that. And especially if you're looking for a partner and you're looking for someone to love you and take you out and treat you nice, you want to be doing those things for yourself. You want to be buying yourself gifts. You want to be taking yourself out to dinner. You want to be doing things for yourself so that way you can receive them from others. And maybe that's why I have a hard time taking compliments, because I don't compliment myself. And you know what? Let me do better at that. And I also want to say, along with dating yourself, let's celebrate wins. Like, sometimes when I go on dates with myself, or sometimes when I treat myself nice is because I'm celebrating something that I've accomplished. I'm celebrating something that I've done that's got me to where I'm at now. And it's important to be celebrated, and it's important to celebrate yourself. So let's make sure that we're celebrating ourselves, loving ourselves, doing the whole freaking 9. Okay, so now I have some questions that I would like to leave you all with. And feel free to just meditate on them, think about them, really just take your time with this because, self care, self love, it may not be easy to do. It may be something that you've been holding off. Maybe it could be something that, you need to do it and you've been doing it but barely. So this could be a time for you to really open your heart and open your mind to this experience and sharing this space with yourself. Like, come on, this is a forever lasting relationship that we cannot run from. This is the one relationship that you can't ghost. You cannot ghost yourself. So let's be mindful that, this is a committed relationship that wasn't really our choice to make, but we have to. And first of all, but it's just like, I don't understand why people don't want to grow or why they don't want to love themselves, because it's just like, how could you not like who you are? And if you don't like who you are, change. Like, it's literally so simple. Like, the recipe is like making freaking eggs. Like, it's not that hard. Like, let's just do this, guys. Like, let's encourage other people around us to do this, because it's just like, for me, I feel like I could see so much light in people, and I could see so much potential in like being everything they want to be. Like, everything you talk about with me, everything that you share with me, it's just like, dang, like, I want you to get there. I want you to have that. I want you to achieve that. That sounds lit. But it's just like, you don't want to change. You don't want to be someone else. You don't want to create that person. Like, I was thinking about it this morning, and I'm like, bruh, like, I've literally created my reality. And it's like, I've created my feelings. Like, I've created how I show up. And it's crazy because just like, you sit and you think like, I want to be this, and I want to look like this, and I want to do this, and I want to do this. And it's like, I've made small adjustments and I've done stuff, and it's just like, I present myself a different way now. I'm seeing a different way now. And I love that. I love that. And it's something that I've created from my authenticity, my authentic self. Like, this is all me, period. I'm not trying to be nobody else. I'm just trying to be myself 100%. I'm inspired by so many people all the time. No cap. I'm always inspired. And y'all continue to be inspired. I think that's a good affirmation as well. Like, I am inspired every single day by the things around me. Everything around me inspires me. Make it your own. So I just want to leave y'all with these questions today. So what are your expectations for yourself? What would you do differently in your daily life if you knew you'd change instantly? How have you chose to love yourself in this season? I am so happy and I'm so ecstatic and I'm so grateful for all of you, collective, for coming today and just sharing space with me to talk about self-love and what that looks like, and being a friend and being true to yourself. Like, it's important. Like, this is a constant thing. We cannot escape from this. So it's just like, stop running, stop trying to hide, and just embrace it. Stop trying to go against the grain. Like, let's just do this. Let's just make it easier for ourselves and let's just do this. Like, do y'all ever feel or think about how much weight and how much pressure it is to freaking sit here and try to fight against something yourself? Like, I just think about the times when I was younger and like I was growing, and my seed is there, and it's like, bruh, I used to get irritated with myself. I used to get so bothered. And I saw something in a podcast or something, and it was talking about how, like, when you're bothered or you're irritated with yourself, when you start to feel uncomfortable, it's like, it's time to move. That means it's time to move. That's your initiative to make a change. That's your initiative to make a switch. So let's really take time to connect with ourselves, connect with our bodies, connect with our minds, so that way we can fulfill our purpose. So that way we can fulfill we are meant to be, so we can reach the people that are meant to be reached. Because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing now. The people aren't getting reached to. And it's not a job. It's not a prophet. It's not a pastor. It's none of these strict, I feel like these are strict roles sometimes. Like, well, they're perceived as strict roles, or they are brought to you from people who operate in a strict way, if that makes sense. And, you know, it's time to just let those go and let's just be ourselves. And it's just so important to love ourselves. And like, you know, I took time this morning to meditate, to pray, to yoga. I did all that this morning before I did this. And it's like, I'm so happy that I did, because I wasn't expecting this to be like this. I wasn't expecting all these words to come from my lips. I wasn't expecting all of this, but I did it. And even though it's been 3-4 days and I've been was supposed to do this, I'm glad that I did it right now, because just like, you know, I've collected more data. I've been able to get more info. I've been able to get more insight. I've been able to get more examples. I've been able to get more signs that I can share, that I can give. But I'm back on it, y'all. I'm not missing another day, okay? I'm not missing another day. But I'm not perfect, so I can't make any promises. But I'm really grateful, and I am so in love, and I'm so happy, and I'm so grateful, and thank you so much, you guys. Thank you so much to everyone that watches me, to everyone that listens to me. Thank you, because this is bigger than me, and it's really bigger than me. It's really above me. What's big about me? And yeah, you know, I just had to. But yeah, I just want to introduce more stuff moving forward to the podcast, to the YouTube. Podcast wise, I want to add some segments. I want to do more dates with myself so I can give y'all suggestions for those of you that are in Houston. I have been on some solo dates that have been really great, and I want to share those with y'all, and I want to make sure that we're all self-loving it up in here, okay? We're all self-loving it up. There's no hiding from this. You can't go anywhere. Yeah, heavy on that. So I want to do more date segments. I want to do an above me segment, which is just like realizations from the week of what I've learned and what I've seen and the signs that I've been getting, and maybe that may resonate with other people. Like, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot that I want to share, that I'm meant to share, and that God is putting on my heart to share. But thank y'all for tuning in today. I hope that y'all have a blessed day, a blessed night. Much love. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see y'all again, hear from y'all again, whatever, on the next episode. Much love.